Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you to all the new viewers and all the new subscribers. We had almost 200 subscribers in the last couple weeks. Just broke 1,000 subscribers. Today we're going to be talking about the 2022 Standard Range Model 3 rear-wheel drive with 275 miles of range. 0 to 60 in 5.8 seconds. Today we're going to be talking about, should I trade it in for the performance model? I've got the bug. Let's talk about it. All right, everybody. Today is day 14 of ownership, and I've been charging up the battery to 100% every single day, multiple times a day. We're at 275 miles. And let's take a closer look at the range. So 275 miles on a 100% battery. I've been charging up every day, sometimes 2, sometimes 3 times a day, charging that battery absolutely to full. Let's go ahead and take a look at the energy graph real quick. This kind of shows you your estimated ranges in real time. You can do instant range or average range. And if you look at my driving style, it's been pretty consistent. I don't drive too fast. Now I do want to flip it over to the estimations here. Show you some of my efficiency on the 2022. Look at this for lifetime. 219 watt hours per mile with 502 miles on the clock. Let me know below if you have a standard range rear wheel drive or any model for that matter, dual motor, performance. Let me know what your watt hours per mile. I want to say it's going to be hard to beat this 219. If you look on my last drive, 374 miles since I set this trip, 214 watt hours per mile. So that's all of it there. Then it has the last charge and since last charge. So I did drop off my daughter at school, 1.1 miles, and we averaged 246 watt hours. Let's hit the road. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I've got a lot to talk about today. The first thing that's been on my mind is, do I trade in the standard range, the brand new 2020 with the LFP, for the performance Model 3? You know, I had the performance model before I bought this one, and I absolutely loved it. There was just a small issue with the motor wind, so I had to go ahead and sell it. Let's go ahead and speed up here on the Autopilot. But ever since I did sell that, I have been missing it. So I did put in an order. The first date said December delivery. About a week later, it popped up, said February 23rd to March 23rd delivery. And I'm like, okay, you know, maybe I keep the car, maybe I don't. I've got this itch for the speed. I don't know what it is. The Performance Model 3 is just unreal on the speed. Now, there is a few things I do want to talk about in this video as well, besides the trading in for a Performance Model 3 if I do it. But let's go ahead and kick in Autopilot here. I do want to mention that, you know, one thing with Autopilot on this road is the lines are not very good, so you can kind of see it squirreling around all over the place. I want to really test this on full self-drive, these type of roads, and see how well it actually will keep me in the lane. Can't wait to get the full self-driving. But with that being said, it might be on the Performance Model 3, so thank you so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing and staying tuned to all the videos coming up. We have got a lot more. Now I want to talk about Autopilot changing lanes. Now a lot of times when I've been on the freeway, I'll always go ahead and like turn off Autopilot like that and then go ahead and make the lane change. But I always had full self-driving on my other Model 3, so I'm very used to using Navigate on Autopilot and doing the automatic lane changes. But what I've learned is that if you go ahead and just turn on the blinker and then turn the wheel, it turns it off of Autopilot like super quick. Now, if you have it in Autopilot and you got to break out of Autopilot, you got to put quite a bit of force on the wheel, and then it'll disengage Autopilot. But if you put on the blinker, it makes it just so you just barely turn the wheel like you're going to change lanes. It turns off your Autopilot and it keeps on your traffic-aware cruise control. So that is very cool to know. Let's go ahead and hop on the freeway here. I'm going to go ahead and put an Autopilot, see how she does. Speed it up to 70. Now I did have a comment. I'm also going to be going over all the comments at the end of the video, so stay tuned and see if you get your comment read. I did have one comment about these Unicorn 2022 Model 3 standard ranges. Not the standard range plus, but the standard range with 275 miles. Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and turn off autopilot and merge in here. These are the type of tests I like to do with full self-driving beta, if we can get that in the future. So there was this message about a 990 motor or a 980 motor in these Unicorn standard range. I did double check my motor. It is the 990 motor. Now this 2022, it's the perfect balance between range and efficiency. But with that being said, I've got a lot of feedback to tell you about. One of them is that it just from 0 to 60, it isn't as fast as like the standard range plus. I'm going to compare everything to the standard range plus, by the way. It's just not as fast, but from 20 to 40 and 20 to 60 and from 60 to 80, it has plenty of torque and is very quick at those speeds. It's just at that 0 to 60, that full rollout, just a little bit slower. Now the sound system compared to the standard range plus, I want to say they're very similar. I don't think, they both don't have the amplifiers. I'm going to go ahead and get out of autopilot because it doesn't like it with these lane markings here. Also, if you keep an eye out, all these cones will come up, and when you're in autopilot, it will. Let's see what she does. Ooh, we are going fast. I'm going to slow it down to 55. So with the sound system being said, I want to say it's very similar to the standard range plus. If I had to rate it, I would probably give it like a 7 out of 10. And now if I'm comparing that to the performance or any long range variants, the premium audio, I would say those are probably like a 9 out of 10. The Tesla sound system is just amazing, but now if you buy the standard range, you're gonna get that less of a system. What is autopilot doing here? It's kind of weaving out. It's 14 days of ownership, and I'm still on the factory build, which is 35.102.2. Still haven't got my first update. I am patiently awaiting that. Now I do want to mention regen braking. On some of my first videos, I mentioned that the regen braking was strong, and after a little bit of experience with the car, what I've been noticing is that under 30 miles an hour, 20 to 30, the regen is pretty strong. Now once you get up to 65, 75 miles an hour, it feels like the regen needs to be increased for sure. It doesn't give you as much stopping power. One of the most impressive regens I ever saw was the standard range plus. We had the 2021 model, and that it was peppy. You could take off quickly with that fast 0 to 60 5.2, and you can regen very quickly. So that was on the 2021 standard range plus, had tons of regen. It's just on this 2022, they've done so much tweaking with balancing the efficiency and the range. I feel like it just doesn't have enough regen. I don't know if the motor can't support it or not. Maybe they could turn it up a little bit. I think it would definitely be beneficial. Now I did have my first service appointment. In the last video I talked about missing the USBs down below and the wireless charging. But on this last service appointment, I was driving out at night for my first drive, and the brights, everybody that I passed by was shining the lights at me to the point where I had to pull over. And if you go in under safety and security, I believe it is, or let's see, driving, navigation, safety, actually go to service. If you go into service, you can do adjust headlights. So I pulled over on the side of the road. I tried to lower the headlights to the point where I lowered them so much that I could barely see anything in the road. Take caution if you're gonna do this. So anyway, I put in a service appointment. They came out about 2 days later actually. Mobile service, super quick. They adjusted the headlights, and I have yet to test them out at night, but I will keep you posted. Now I've been charging up to a full battery every single night, sometimes 2 or sometimes 3 or 4 times a day, just depending on how many small trips I take, and it's still doing great. It's holding strong. We've only used 2%. This car is so efficient. I know we're going uphill right now, so the watt hours per mile, but it really averages out. I mean, 220 for lifetime, that is super low. And you will know what I mean. Like, it scrubbing off the miles, scrubbing off the range when you're driving, it's hard to do. This thing is super efficient. But again, it's not going to have that super fast pull. I think we could add some more regen to the mix, and that would be good. So we've been charging full battery. I haven't seen any degradation at all. Every time I charge it up, it goes right back up to 275 miles like a clock. Now I do have plans to do some supercharging tests as long as I don't sell this before I get the Performance Model 3. I sure hope I can get those tests in. So on the next video, I will keep you posted. Did I sell the 2022 standard rear-wheel drive and go back to the performance model? You know, I've had that 2018 long-range rear-wheel drive. I had it for 3 years, so I'm very familiar with the rear-wheel drive variant. And you know, I got that performance, had a problem, and I'm like, let's go try the rear-wheel drive again, and I just want that speed. When you get a taste of that performance speed, it's gonna be hard to ever go back. That's all I can say. Now this car is a great value. You get the heated steering wheel. Let me pull that up. So in this car, you do get the heated steering wheel. You get all the heated seats. It is just a fantastic setup. You also get the long range, 275 miles. Such super efficiency, super quiet, rear wheel drive bias. There's so much to say about this car. I mean, you got the auto trunk now in the rear, you got the dual pane glass, you got the heat pump up front. This car is definitely fun to drive, and it'll keep you out of trouble because that 0 to 60 is 5.8 seconds. So, I mean, when you're at speed, it will pick up very quickly. Like on the highway, let me show you, we're at 65. So you can feel that torque kick in, and it gains speed quick. It's just from 0 to 60, it feels a little bit sluggish. I think if this car had the 5.20 to 60 with the 275 range, it couldn't be beat. And there's another Model 3. I don't want to get you down. This 2022 is an absolute monster to drive. It's so fun, so efficient, so easy to drive. No complaints whatsoever. The car is just beautiful. But is it better than the performance model? I mean, we're talking actually about $16,000 difference before tax from the 2022 standard range to the performance Model 3. Now, I did want to show you real quick, when you're on autopilot, like say on the freeway doing 70 miles an hour. Now, if I wanted to change lanes, I could turn the wheel enough to where it brakes autopilot, and I'll do that. Okay, you see that? So it is kind of difficult to do, but I mean, not difficult, but you do got to put a little bit of force. But if you're in autopilot and you put on the blinker, turn left, right? And then it's so slight, so easy to take it off autopilot, and that's how you want to change lanes. Now, if you have full self-driving, you do have navigate on autopilot, which you can do the automatic lane changes with it, which is fantastic. I thought it was going to be a problem going, because I had full self-driving for about 3 years on my other vehicle, having automatic lane change. I thought it was going to be a big deal, but after I learned this little trick with the blinker, and it's easy to turn, stays in traffic aware cruise control as well. Prior to that, I would always lift up on the stock, completely cancel autopilot, and then go right back into it. And it was kind of a bummer, to tell you the truth. All right, guys, this is where I'm going to be reading to you your comments. And the first one's from Andrew McGregor. He says, love your channel so far. He has the 2022 Model 3 LFP on order, due in March. Now, he was thinking like if they're going to be doing new iterations to the Standard Range Plus. I think this is it. He did mention the 4680 batteries, but I think what we're going to be seeing on the Standard Range variants going forward is the LFP architecture. Now, the 4680, I don't believe those are LFP chemistry. Now, the next one we got is from Alethesmic, I think. He says, the front motor whine on your Model 3 Performance. He goes, why didn't they just fix the issue warranty instead of replacing the car? He says he's got a Model 3 Performance on delivery. Well, that is the thing. You know, I think they would have if I would have taken it back a couple more times. They did say it sounded normal. So I just didn't have the time. I got a little bit impatient. But as you heard on this video, I did order another Model 3 Performance. I'm going to give it another go. The car is just absolutely stunning. Now, this 2022 rear-wheel drive is a beauty in itself. The range, the efficiency, the price, the value, it is just perfect. Now, Althesmic also says, he goes, My current standard range plus can whine sometimes. It's just at that right speed. And you know what? I did hear a very, very slight whine on this motor at about 47 miles an hour, but then it kind of disappeared. Now the motor whine I had on the Model 3 Performance was like an oscillating whine and would keep going on and off. It was pulsating. It was just terrible. GSKD says, when you talked about the sound system, were you comparing that to the old one? So I've always been comparing this to like the premium audio. Now the standard range plus and the new rear wheel drive for 2022, I want to say it's about the same audio system. David Arnold says, loving the content and the Vegas scenery. He says he has the same 2023 Model 3 rear-wheel drive white on white coming in December. Well, congratulations. He says he's curious if the traffic-aware cruise control autopilot situations when coming to a stop, if they'll stop behind the car. So that's the thing. If you're going through a light and there's no vehicles in front of you with traffic-aware cruise control, it'll just go right through the light. Now, if there is a car, it definitely will stop. And then as soon as that car in front gets back in motion, it'll just keep following. Korea Boy says, amazing. Have you experienced phantom braking on your 2022 Model 3 yet? He says, it seems like it's to be common issue and quite dangerous one for sure. So definitely I have experienced the phantom braking probably about 3 times since I first got since I was testing it. Now I haven't experienced any time after that recently, but we are still on that same factory build. So I don't know if it was just maybe the sunlight going under an underpass, but I tell you what, phantom braking is real and scary as. Brian Diaz says, just started watching your videos, they're great. I'm waiting to take delivery of my Model 3 Standard in about 2 to 3 weeks. Welcome to the family, Brian. You're gonna love it. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna be trading in mine. If you wanna purchase it, let me know. Daniel says, just bought this exact car. He says he's worried about the decreased acceleration. Will it be noticeable? What do I think? Does the car feel fast enough from the previous versions I've owned? Well, compared to the 2018 long range rear wheel drive I had, that one was doing 0 to 60 in about 5 seconds. It would literally just rip the rear tires off the ground, clawing for life. Now this one, is it fast enough is the question. I think so, I really do. But I've just got that performance bug. So fast enough is gonna be it's really gonna be about how your wallet is. Eli Watson says, gonna pick up my Model 3 rear-wheel drive this Friday. Super excited. Thanks for the informative videos. You are gonna love it. Absolutely. I did want to confirm no fog lights on this model. What's crazy is it almost looks like it has a fog light on there. These lights are super bright at night. You heard my story about blinding people as well. G. Lou says, are you planning to upgrade your audio to like the hand show package or something similar? Well, I think I am gonna be upgrading the audio, but that's because I think I'm gonna get the Performance Model 3 again. Get with the premium audio. I was telling my wife, I said, I miss my Performance Model 3. I almost ordered a standard Model S Plaid last night. I just can't do it. I love the performance, I love the technology, but I cannot go with the size. The Model 3 is just a perfect size. In my opinion, I almost like the Performance Model 3 more than the Model S Plaid, just because it's so nimble and quick, light on its feet. Nick says, can you please do an audio test in this car? He says, I know nothing like the premium audio Tesla providers. What would you rate it with your honest answer? So I think I rate the audio on the standard range probably a 7 out of 10. I think the premium audio is more of like a 9 out of 10. Now I did get a few late comments. Jan says, when supercharging, does the charging speed slow down as you reach 100%? What is the rate of charge you're getting? Thanks for the videos. I haven't done one supercharging test yet, but I plan to soon. Now it does slow down once you get up to about 80% on all Tesla vehicles. Revolving Cube says, I ordered a Tesla Model 3 in August before the change and I'm still waiting on delivery. It says I'll be getting it in January, hopefully. Will I be getting the LFP battery rather than the original? So here's the thing with that. If you did place an order and you haven't taken delivery yet, I think you will be getting the LFP battery. Now I have seen some standing inventory for the 2021 Standard Range Plus. That's the 262 mile range with the 5.20 to 60. And those you can still buy. They are actually brand new and available, but I think they are not producing them anymore. So any orders you have, you will be getting the 2022. Corey says, hey man, I ordered mine on October 1st and my estimated delivery date is February 8th as of now. I'm getting the exact same car. Does it come with the Tesla mats or do I have to order floor mats? It definitely doesn't come with carpeted mats. You will want to get some nice all-weathers for sure. Joseph says, hey, thanks for the informative video. Just to make sure I understand, I pick up my 2022 Standard on Saturday. Is it okay to always charge to 100%? Absolutely. I've been charging this baby up to 100% every single day for the last 14 days, 3 or 4 times a day sometimes, and it is handling it great. I haven't been noticing any degradation at all. And that's going to wrap it up today for my 2022 Model 3 LFP video. Do I trade it in for the performance? And we'll see you on the next one.